Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we've got an incredibly practical, genuinely powerful session lined up for you. We're going to be unpacking some insights from Thomas Alethia's really profound book, 12 Steps to a Good Life. Specifically, we're going to extract one highly accessible tool from this massive text that you can literally start using today to completely transform your day.
Look, I know you're busy. You've probably got your phone buzzing with notifications right now, an inbox full of emails you haven't answered, and a to-do list that, let's be honest, never actually ends. We live in this age of constant input, and the result? We end up trapped by our own mental chatter. We become these prisoners of circumstance, just totally overwhelmed by racing thoughts, stress, and the absolute sheer velocity of modern life. It's like a thick mental fog, and all that chronic stress, it takes a massive, massive toll on both our physical and mental health.
But don't worry, we have a really clear roadmap out of that fog today. We're going to cover 1, the trap of mental chatter, 2, defining inner focus, 3, the 4-6 breathing method, 4, comparing breathing techniques, 5, everyday mindfulness in action, and 6, the breath as an anchor.
Let's start right off with Section 1, the trap of mental chatter.
The source text points out something really fascinating about our biology. See, endless worried thoughts actually trigger automatic physical responses through your nervous system. When you're stressed out, your sympathetic nervous system kicks into gear, raising your heart rate and getting you ready for action, the classic fight or flight mode. But when you just continuously linger on fear or anger or just that endless stressful chatter, you essentially lock your body in that stress mode. It never gets a chance to rest or heal. The author includes this brilliant quote from Blaise Pascal that just perfectly captures our modern dilemma. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. We're so uncomfortable with stillness that we constantly seek distraction, creating this profound disconnect from reality. Moving on to Section 2, defining inner focus. Before we get to the specific breathing tool, we really need to understand the broader framework Thomas Aletheia lays out here. He gives us this highly simplified, holistic foundation called a plan for health, which boils down to 4 basic anchors: think, eat, sleep, and move. We have to remember that you absolutely cannot out-meditate severe sleep deprivation or a terrible diet, right? Managing your mind has to start with this physical foundation. We have to care for our bodies because that physical space is literally where your mind lives. Once those basics are dialed in, then we can look at the think aspect, which brings us straight to inner focus. Inner focus is defined as the consolidation of prayer and meditation into a regular, practical state of quiet connection. Notice those words, practical state. And this brilliantly illustrates a key point. We need to shatter this myth that meditation requires sitting cross-legged on a mountaintop for 30 minutes in total silence. Aletheia points out that inner focus is just a natural state you can achieve anywhere. It's about bringing calm concentration into your normal day. It doesn't drain you at all. It actually energizes you mentally and spiritually. Which brings us to Section 3, the 4-6 breathing method. So, how do we actually access that state quickly? Well, this is the absolute climax of today's explainer, the 4-6 breathing method. This is your ultimate practical skeleton key to unlocking inner focus, and you can literally start using it right this second. It's wonderfully simple. Step 1, inhale for a count of 4. Step 2, exhale for a count of 6. Actually, let's slow down for a second and just try a cycle together right now. Get comfortable. Ready? Inhale through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Now exhale slowly. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just do one more. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just notice how you feel right now. That was just 2 breaths. What you just experienced there is basically physiological magic. The text explains that this specific rhythm, purposely making your exhale slightly longer than your inhale, directly impacts your vagus nerve. That releases acetylcholine, which physically slows your heart rate and naturally activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest system. Instantly, it lowers your blood pressure, calms your body, and physically pulls you right out of that stressful mental chatter.
Let's look at Section 4, comparing breathing techniques.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is comparing this to other methods. You've probably heard of things like tactical breathing. The source text actually covers a few methods, but let's look at box breathing. That's inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and holding for 4. It's incredibly effective, sure, but as the text notes, it's really used by the military and first responders for acute combat level stress. It requires conscious effort to hold your breath.
4-6 breathing skips the breath holding entirely. It's just a continuous fluid motion. Because there's no holding, it's completely effortless, making it the perfect, highly accessible micro-meditation from normal life.
Which leads us to Section 5, Everyday Mindfulness in Action.
Let's zoom back out and look at how this starkly simple technique seamlessly fits right into the daily chaos of a professional's life. Because you aren't holding your breath, and there's no dramatic gasping or pausing, you can use this micro-meditation completely unnoticed. You can practice it passively while you're walking to a meeting, just shorten the count to match your footsteps. You can do it while sitting at your desk, staring at an intense spreadsheet. You can even do it waiting in line for your coffee. It is literally an invisible superpower. You're actively regulating your nervous system and clearing that mental chatter, and nobody around you even has a clue.
And finally, Section 6, The Breath as an Anchor.
We've talked a lot about the practical physical mechanics here, but I really want to elevate this back to the profound philosophical perspective offered in the book. Alethea writes, breath is the bridge between being and non-being. So the crucial point is this: your breath is completely unique in the human body. It's an automatic unconscious function, right? If you stop thinking about it, you're still going to keep breathing. But the very second you choose to, it's completely under your conscious control. It acts as this magical pivot point between our conscious will and our automatic bodily drives. By controlling your breath, you are taking absolute control of the boundary between your mind and your body. Which leaves us with this final, really important question. Will you take control of your next breath? You don't need 30 minutes in a dark, quiet room to find peace today. You literally just need 10 seconds to inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. So the next time you feel that mental chatter starting to rise or the stress tightening your chest, remember that your anchor is quite literally right under your nose. I challenge you to apply this 4-6 method today as you step back into your busy schedule. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and seriously, keep breathing.